I think for any of us in practices, I think unfortunately at one point or another we're going to deal with employee theft. And I think if you haven't dealt with employee theft, I think you'd be somewhat naive not to think that possibly it's going on in your practice. And that's not to, trust is the biggest factor in our hospitals. And if we can't have trust of our staff, it's very hard for us to be successful. But at the same time, we are a business, and we have to have accountability. And I've been practice manager for almost 11 years now, and the first theft, the actual theft that I ran into was about 5 or 6 years ago. And money just started missing out of the cash drawer. And it was funny how they turned out to be even amounts. So it started off with a $20 bill, and then all of a sudden the next week it was $40 or $80. And it was like, it's very hard for me to think that we gave out the wrong change in whole dollar increments. So it became very evident that we had somebody walking away with cash. And so at that point, we did decide to place a camera that was aimed in a public area next to the cash register. And sure enough, about 7 days later, I get a call from our bookkeeper explaining to me that the cash drawer is off again. And so I went in and I pulled the tape from the camera, and I'll never forget it. It's not a fun thing to deal with. And I can remember going home and putting the tape in the the VCR back in 5 or 6 years ago, and fast forwarding to the day's events, and actually seeing the employee looking around and grabbing the cash out of the cash drawer, slipping it into his pocket, and again looking around, closing the drawer and walking off. And my stomach literally sunk. I mean, again, back to that trust. You have so much trust in your employees, and you work so hard to make them successful and reward them, and to see somebody really going behind your back, and it was very discouraging. And so certainly we did go ahead and contact the police and follow the necessary steps to prevent it, but not fun at all. So for those of you dealing with theft, like I said, it would not be unusual in a small business setting, but I think it's very important that you deal with it swiftly and make sure that you're taking every precaution and making sure that you have a lot of double checks systems in place to where one person, you're not giving opportunities. I think that's probably where we fail the most, is we give too many opportunities to staff members. We don't have enough checks and balances in our hospital.